March 5th Raw is now in the books from Boston, Massachusetts, and a very interesting Monday Night Raw indeed, as The Rock took us on a history tour as he showed us the Boston River and decided to chuck a bunch of John Cena's merchandise in there, something I wanted to do for a long time, and then took us on different stages of the American Revolution around Boston, and The Rock was slowly but surely getting his, as they say, groove back as he was gearing up for the fight in promo tonight as he confronted John Cena in the middle of the ring. More on that later. But we started off Raw really with an, I don't want to say weird, but very strange promo between Triple H and Shawn Michaels. I really think these two have better promos in them than what produced on Monday Night Raw. It wasn't their best, it wasn't their worst either, but really it just didn't seem right. It didn't seem like the promo they did 3 weeks ago. It really didn't. The same passion wasn't there. It was a bit more sarcastic. You had the funny Shawn Michaels back from D-Generation X, and I'm sorry, around this time sorry about that, but around this time you should not be having people like that. Michaels can get very serious, and they proved it near the end of the promo. But even when he did, the way he announced he's going to be the referee, which I'm not a fan of. I'm the biggest Shawn Michaels mark you ever meet, but I'm not a big fan of Michaels being thrown into this Hell in a Cell. I think it's crowding the match. There's no need for it. There's no reason for it. Like, if you screw Taker out the street, you're wasted 20 years for a screw job. And then if he pins Triple H's hands down, like, what's the point in that? Like, Michaels is retired. You can't have a grudge match. It just doesn't make any sense long term. But after that, then we went to Jack Swagger defending his United States Championship against Santino Marella, and I think after what happened here, I said Swagger was happy he was kept off TV with the United States Championship for a few weeks as he lost it to Santino Marella. A lot of shenanigans involved in this match, as John Laurinaitis and Teddy Long were both at ringside. Dave Lontonga, Dolph Ziggler, Aksana and Vicky Guerrero as well. But surprisingly, Cole was shocked when Kofi Kingston came down. Like, did you hear Michael Cole's reaction? It was like someone made a comeback of 10 years. It was just like, Kofi Kingston? But Santino Marella wins the United States Champion, and this pretty much squanders my hopes of seeing Zack Ryder and Jack Swagger at WrestleMania. I don't know where they're going to go with this. Why give the belt to Santino? Who's he really going to defend it against? Is he going to go into a long time feud, or is this just a way to get the United States Championship back to Dolph Ziggler? That's the only reason I could really think of it. You also had E. Torres taking on Alicia Fox, and the return of Long Island IC Zack Ryder and Eve kissing him backstage and leaving questions up in the air. Really, I think this is leading to a Zack Ryder heel turn. I think, as much as I've been criticising it, I think himself and Eve as a heel couple could make a lot of sense. Because Zack Ryder, except for the back end of last year from August when he got injured, was a heel. He was always a heel, and it was just the fan reaction that turned him into a babyface. So maybe he might go back heel with Eve. After that, we went to a really uncomfortable promo with John Cena, something that never flew, never really seemed comfortable, as he talked in a TNA house show, as I like to put it, but it was an empty arena. It just felt very weird. And then after that, we had what I think is probably one of the best matches we had on Raw in 2012. It was a tag team match between CM Punk and Sheamus against Chris Jericho and Daniel Bryan. A very, very good match. I was shocked about how good this match was. And I tell you, looking at these matches, Sheamus is stepping it up. I still have a major problem with Sheamus smiling. He's smiling every week. You're going into the biggest match of your career. You're challenging for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania, and you're smiling about everything. These two guys need to have some interaction. Like, I know they won a tag team match tonight, but most of that match was to focus on Punk and Jericho, I think. But you really have to have some interaction with them, either this week on SmackDown or next week on Raw. They need to have some interaction soon. Like, these two guys are fighting for the World Heavyweight Championship. It's not like it's just some match thrown together, like, and there's been no interaction between them. but you did have Chris Jericho and Daniel Bryan winning it with a roll-up by Chris Jericho, which I thought was going to be another draw, but the win was given to Chris Jericho, and really I can't talk highly of this tag team match. It was really, really good. And then you had The Miz getting squashed by Big Show. This is part 1 of 2 squash matches tonight, by the way. Cody Rhodes came out and played a hilarious video package again from WrestleMania 18. We all know backstage that really pissed the Big Show off, that at WrestleMania 18 he was at WWE New York and he was hugging kids, and they actually rolled into a storyline that him and Ric Flair took on Austin. But what are you going to do with this? I just don't get where WWE are going to go with Cody Rhodes and Big Show. It's just going to be a one-time only thing at WrestleMania just to get Big Show on the card. Is it going to be a thing like a back and forth with the Intercontinental Championship? Because you go back a couple of months ago, even to the Royal Rumble, you had Big Show challenging for the World Heavyweight Championship, and now he's fighting for the Intercontinental Champion. Is there any plus side of giving Big Show this belt? I don't think there is. I really don't think there's a plus side of giving Big Show the belt. And then after that we went to part 2 with the squashes, as Kane destroyed R-Truth. And really, like, this is going back to the point I made in a few videos before. Like, I don't get why Kane and Big Show are getting free passes. I don't get why two of them got to come out and squash two people that worked their ass off for the whole year. And then after the match you had Randy Orton coming out and RKOing Kane and saying it's good to be back in probably what could be the longest promo of all time. This is definitely going down in Miami, there's no two ways about it. Probably in a no holds barred match, as they're kind of building Randy Orton to be vicious lately, so that's probably where that's going to go. And then we had the face off between the Great One, The Rock, and the Doctor of Thugonomics, John Cena. It was kind of like roles reversed this week. You had John Cena coming out first, trying to be funny. He just stop trying to be funny. He's not funny. CM Punk said it best. John, you're not funny. None was funny about that promo. And then The Rock came out, and as much as I love The Rock, these things are getting uncomfortable to watch at times. It's like if you go for a night out with your mates and he gets squared up into another fella's face. It's uncomfortable. Like, these two guys really don't like each other. I don't care what you read on the dirt sheets and all that. There's no way you can fake act that much. It's like when you're watching a movie. You kind of know that it's a movie and they're actors, but right here, like, he went right up in Cena's face. And Cena, the problem I had with Cena re-emerged tonight. He's not taking this seriously. This is a huge match, probably the biggest John Cena's ever going to have in his career, even if there is a rematch, because I always said you cannot recapture the magic of the first match. But The Rock said something that was very un-Rock-like. He said, I'm going to rip your throat out. I could be wrong, but I can never remember The Rock being that vicious on a promo. Never. And then after that, The Rock left. Cena wrote some scribbles on his hand, and then he jumped into certain parts of the crowd that he knew his college buddies were, and he went over to his dad and his wife and closed the show thinking that he wouldn't minority the crowd over. Look, it was in his hometown. He was always going to get some bit of support, but in your hometown, you look at any heel wrestler, when they go to their hometown, they get a minority of the crowd behind them. They get a majority of the crowd behind them. But Cena didn't pull that off. That crowd was definitely still 70-30 Rock. And it just really shows the hatred that a lot of the fans still harbour towards John Cena. And then next week it's had to be announced that you will have a Rock concert and a John Cena rap. Now, what I don't get about this is that when Rock did his two concerts, he was a heel. So how are you really going to work that in as a face? And John Cena hasn't rapped. I know he did one on The Rock last year, but that was only a minute, like. But he's not going to be able to rap for 3 or 4 minutes like he used to in the old days. A lot more to talk about, as I will recap this in more in depth during the week. But this was only a quick recap and throw it up on YouTube right after Raw. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoy Monday Night Raw. We only have 3 more to go to WrestleMania, which is making each Raw very, very interesting. No mic work tonight between Chris Jericho and CM Punk. Very surprised with that, with the promo they pulled out the bag last week, but what are you going to do? We are now getting closer and closer to Miami. This is now only 26 days away. And I tell you one thing, this thing with Rock and Cena, it's really getting personal. And call me whatever you want, but wrestling fans love that. Go back to Michaels and Bret Hart when people knew that was really they invested more into it, and people are really going to invest. This is your money match. This is your big match for WrestleMania. Follow me on Twitter, it's down the information box. Subscribe. I hope people actually start listening to this soon enough. And all I can say is we're still on the road to WrestleMania, and it's starting to get a lot more interesting.
Running with wolves and I'm on the prowl.